Yes, my people, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to AFTV Live, and today we'll be discussing the news around Arsenal, and I'm joined with my guy Turkish. You good?
All good, man.
All good, all good. Right, well, if we're going to go, we might as well just go straight into it. There's no point, beating around the bush. The news broke this morning around Bernd Leno being linked to Benfica for a reported fee of 8.5 million, which firstly, I think it's quite a low fee for Bernd Leno. I mean, some may argue that. I think that's quite a low fee they were asking for, but you've found out that this can be debunked. this whole story that's broken on through the media outlets this week, but today. Sorry. So I'm gonna pass over to you to basically say what you found out, and then we can discuss it after, Turkish.
So obviously, to give some context to it, to build the show, in the morning I went through, well, not the morning, but the afternoon, I was having a look at Charles Watt's YouTube channel.
Right.
And I took a quote from there. Charles said, "I believe Leno said his goodbyes at the end of the season around London Colney. No one's expecting Bernd Leno to come back next season. He wants to go. He wants to try and play somewhere so he can try and get himself into the World Cup squad at the end of the year."
Right.
That was on Charles Watt's official YouTube channel.
And we both believe that Leno is probably going to move on in this summer window.
Yeah.
But today, obviously, this one about Benfica, we don't know how true it is, but obviously I know you got more on it.
Well, yeah, around that, there was the whole 8.5 million Benfica. You just mentioned that it's a low fee. I agree it's a low fee, but the club don't put themselves in the best of positions in order to sell players at top value, or as close to top value as you can potentially get. Buying clubs know that he's not our number one. Buying clubs know that we brought in Matt Turner to be our number two moving into next season. So the strong hand is with the buying clubs.
True.
But I'm with you. I think Bernd Leno, will be moved on this summer. However, on Twitter, Bernd Leno has tweeted something at himself. You used the word debunk. I'm going to use that same word, but I also think there's a bit of tongue-in-cheek in there as well, because he is going to go this summer.
Yeah,
I don't see him staying at Arsenal Football Club being, second, third choice.
Again for a whole season. He only played 4 matches this season for Arsenal.
And he's 30 years of age. I'm surprised at that as well. I thought he was a bit younger, but yeah, he's 30 years of age, so he needs a move now. And with the World Cup at the end of the year, I'm sure he's got his eyes set on that. So Bernd Leno tweeted in response to someone tweeting about Charles Watt's comments on saying goodbyes and whatnot. Leno tweeted, "Breaking news. Bernd Leno joins Lewis Hamilton's F1 team. He was spotted yesterday in front of Hamilton's box in Monaco." A few laughing emojis in there. And then he says, "Your source is not the best, mate." Obviously talking about the individual that tweeted Charles Watt's comments, but the source is Charles Watts. And, Charles Watts is closely linked to the club in some way, shape or form. I don't really know how he is linked, but he's inside the stadium, he's inside the grounds, he gets special access, so a lot of people hold him to higher regard in terms of his Arsenal links and rumours and so on. But Leno's come out, like I said, I take it a bit tongue-in-cheek. He hasn't really quashed the rumours, but he's thrown something in there that Arsenal fans online have attached themselves to, and that whole "don't listen to the in the nose" and whatnot, it's coming about again. But yeah, I think,
well, I hear so that's what was put up there, and I understand that there's also a little new kind of twist that's been added. It's like a reality show. Transfers are literally like that throughout the summers. Who's going to wear? Everyone has their own opinions and whatnot, but this is another thing that got added in, was that fact that Bernd Leno may be linked to Newcastle United as well. Now they're in the mix of looking for a new goalkeeper, and Leno's name got brought up as well. So, a signing for Newcastle, a goalkeeper, Leno, I think that actually works. But I'll be definitely asking or expecting Arsenal. I mean, I'm not doing their business and their transfer business, but they should be asking for a lot more, especially if Newcastle in interested. I mean, 8.5 million from a Newcastle side with that much money. Maybe add a little couple of zeros on that.
On that matter, Colby here says, "If we don't get 15 million plus for a player of the quality of Leno, I'll be really disappointed with the business that Arsenal does." It wouldn't be the first time, though, and that was going to be my response to you, Colby. It wouldn't be the first time that we're left disappointed or wondering why. So I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not surprised by the 8.5 million price tag. Like I said,
that is low, though. That is low, though, for him, for a keeper of his quality. I know there might be an argument to say, he's not a ball-playing goalkeeper. His distribution is as fast as nowadays the keepers are. But we like keepers that do their job first: save, stop, shot, stop, claim the ball. And I think Leno's got that in abundance. So I think 8.5 was a bit cheeky. But like you said, we know Arsenal, and it wouldn't surprise me if a deal like gets over the line for that cheap. But hopefully they've learnt from. I say this every year. Hopefully they've learnt from their past transfer business.
Obviously they haven't, and we're going to move into why they haven't. Not that we haven't touched on it already last week, but you know.
Yeah, we'll go into Eddie. I'm going to read the super chat from Mustafi's Shoelace. It says 100k a week for sitting on the bench. Who else would pay him that? I would squash those rumours too.
Yeah, let's not forget he's on a decent wage. You know, he's got a good contract there. He has got a year left on it. We've just mentioned that, but it comes down to the player. You know, the player can sit on the bench and take the wage and be happy. There's a lot of players in this modern day era of football that they are happy sitting on the bench and taking.
Do you think Leno's a keeper like that? I know he's not the first choice international keeper, but he's an international keeper. I wouldn't expect Leno to have that sort of mentality or attitude. I know he did sit on as a second fiddle for this season to Aaron Ramsdale, but he's going to want more for his career. 30 years old, he hasn't got long left. He's going to want to play 100%. I don't think he's one of those players that would sit on the bench for 100k a week. I know that's kind of what the super chat was saying, but I agree. I think he's going to want to do a bit more than that. So I'm glad he came out with that tweet, if I'm honest. I think that's good of him as well. It shows that, you know, he still wants to have a prolonged career, you know, as a first choice keeper. And I think he deserves that. I think he's not a terrible keeper. He's not a bad keeper at all.
James says Matt Turner is USA's best keeper since Tim Howard. I remember Tim Howard.
I remember Tim Howard as well. It's the first USA keeper that would come to mind, if I'm honest. Yeah.
Jay says he's a great shot stopper, coming for crosses. I guess the only thing I haven't heard about Turner is, you know, his distribution is playing out the back and so on. But obviously Leno wasn't the best at that either, hence why we, you know, moved on from him and brought in Ramsdale. Also a shout to say, listen, I don't think he's going to be ready yet, but I've watched Okonkwo in the under-23s and his distribution, they play in the same format as Arsenal's first team. Most academies do, under-23s, but a lot of his play is from at his feet, out the back. So, Okonkwo is a shout as well, but I know Matt Turner's probably going to be the favourite. He's going to be coming in to be that number 2, really, for Arsenal. But yeah, don't forget the youngsters that we have amongst the academy that are also coming through that we could be looking at in the new season. Yeah, I assume Okonkwo will be our third choice again next season. Someone here said his distribution is better than Leno's, obviously talking about Matt Turner. Well, I hope so. It wasn't Leno's strong point, but at the same time, you know, the way Arteta wants to play, the way modern day managers seem to want to play, you need a keeper that can play out the back.
Let's get people's opinions on that real quick. Nowadays, everyone has to be able to use their feet and play out the back. It's this style of football, this generation, keepers have to be good with their feet. Centre backs can't just defend nowadays. They have to be able to drive through into midfield. They have to find passes. Full backs now have to be wingers. Like, do you enjoy that side of football? Do you think that's the progression of football? Or I feel like you're the sort of fan, and I'm sure I've got this right, that just wants to see defenders defend first. That's what you should be focused on. Goalkeepers just stop shots. Fullbacks defend as well. Yeah. Strikers don't have to be coming deep to pick the ball up. Just score goals. Like, I know you probably understand how the game's going, but do you miss that sort of?
Nah, of course you do. It's part of Football was a lot better back in the day for me.
I
know I might sound one of them old men in my day and this and that, but it was better, you know. And I don't know there isn't that one factor you can put it down to, but that is one. That is one, you know, variable that's changed over the years. You know, back in the day, your striker, he's there to score goals. Your defender, he's there to defend by any means necessary. Now you need your striker to link up play, potentially drop, potentially bring in the wingers. You need your defenders to be adequate on the ball. You need them to be able to ping a ball over the top or feed between the lines. This was never the case growing up.
Was football better, because I had this argument with my friends week in, week out. Was football better for you back in the day because Arsenal also succeeded though as well, Turkish? So you'd been blinded. If you think about it, the point tally in the Premier League has gone up. There's more games, there's more matches, the intensity is higher. Premier League is the best league in the world, and all of this. There's so many factors to say football is better now, but I trust me, I'm with you when I say I prefer football back in the day. But is that because we're being biased?
No, football's definitely not better now. Definitely not. I can say that with my chest. It's
yeah,
definitely not, because
there'll be arguments on the other side.
But if you look at the pool of players, let's say in the year 2000, if you picked out the top 20, 30 players in world football, and then you brought the top 20, 30 players from now and compared them to then, I'm sorry, but then shit's on now.
Okay.
You might get a few now that, you know, well, obviously not at this moment in time with Messi and Ronaldo, but over the years, Messi and Ronaldo, none of the numbers. You just mentioned Manchester City and Liverpool, the numbers, and yes, the numbers and the nutrition and the whole professional nature of it all has been, you know, narrowed down, defined, and back in the day, it was a lot. You was a lot more free.
Yeah.
You know, you was freer on the pitch, and you was a lot more free off the pitch
Is that
as well.
because of social media? Saying in regards to like social media, players being able to, I don't know, they have a drink after a game, maybe socialise a bit more. Nowadays, it's very. I mean, they can't really do anything. Footballers. Is that another factor to it as well, or do you believe or not?
What, as in off the pitch?
Yeah, it's off the pitch stuff. Like it's just
the thing is, yeah, I get it, I understand that, and that makes sense. But how has that all managed to come in? Yeah, so let's say the year 2000 again. How has all this nutrition come in? This new, you know, this whole medical lifestyle, you know, physios and set piece,
throwing coaches,
all of that's come in.
Kick-off coaches.
But the pool of quality in world football, it has still managed to drop off. How does that make sense?
Well, this is why that's the argument, because every time I have this argument, I always say football was better back in the day. Like I see players as superheroes then. It was a different, for me, it was like I used to love football with a different passion back then. But people always say there's been so much benefits and advances in football. There'll be a big argument to say no, you're just holding on to being the old man, really, the old fan, which could be true, but I think that's just our personal opinions. Sorry, people, I have gone off on a massive tangent, but
they're enjoying it. Jay says football's better now. Let's not be silly, but we were better back in the day. Kieran says football was better back when France and Italy dominated the 90s. So it's a mix. Cyrus says the entire United squad sum up the problem and difference between footballers now versus back then, and that's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. James says football has progressed over the years, some for the better, but some not. Playing at the back is nice to see, although stressful. Not being able to tackle with everyone and act is not good to see.
This is a whole show in itself, if I'm honest. But it's a good conversation to have because, like I said, these are the things that I bring up and get brought up in a lot of my group chats, and I just it's one I battle with so much. And I don't know if it's me being just a fan of the old days where I used to see my team succeed and just really enjoy football. Like I said, to play as superheroes, to me, the whole, I don't know, it was just aloof football. Football was the main sport. I think nowadays it just feels, I don't know, it feels different. But then there's going to be a big argument saying
Jack is fair comment here. Individual players were better back in the day, but tactics and systems are much more important now. Players are picked to suit a system. I'd agree with that, and I guess it goes back to what do you prefer. I'd prefer to, like you said, I prefer to see more individual players who, you know, are stars. Than I am with teams becoming well-oiled machine and
brands.
Yeah, that might not have a superstar but has 7-8 players that all chip in. And you know, for me, I grew up in an era of superstars. It's changed. Football's still entertaining. Yeah. It doesn't help that Arsenal were great back in the day growing up, and Arsenal aren't so great anymore. That might have some some sort of effect on it.
Definitely.
But like I said, if I take Arsenal out of the equation and I really look at the pool of talent back then and the pool of talent now, it's fell off.
It's fell off. All right, Graham Tuluk with a super chat says, being as injuries were responsible for the collapse, shouldn't we plug the injury holes with comparable players? Question mark. Left back, centre mid, right back, a top striker. Agreed? Question mark. Well, we'll get into that anyway, and transfers that could potentially happen this summer as well. We plug the injury holes. So I'm assuming, like you said, left back's a Tierney, centre mid obviously with Partey, right back to Messi obviously went down at the end of the season. Should we be covering them? I think. And a top striker, but I think the priority for me is striker. Is the main thing. I think we've been trying to build the centre backs and defenders for a long time in the past couple of seasons. Yes, we've progressed, and if you look at our table position, but I think now we really need to look at our attack. That is where we thought, clearly the contracts are running up. I don't think we're scoring enough goals. So that for me is priority. But then that does also cover the injured players as well. I think that's the next kind of. All those positions he's mentioned, all those positions I want to see come in this summer. Whether Arsenal will do that, I don't believe they will. That's another question. But
that would be the positions to prioritise. But I think you need to double up on striker. You need to double up on midfielder, and probably both come before some other areas as well. You know, we need a left back, probably one of quality, to really, really challenge and give Tierney something to think about. Tomiyasu, you know, I hope these injury concerns in the latter half of this season, you know, aren't anything moving forward, like they have been with Tierney. Otherwise, that is also an area where we might need to buy real quality to really challenge and give him something to think about. But before those two positions, we know we need goals. We know 100%. We need an upgrade in the middle of the park. And I think, you know, getting those players of quality in those positions have to be priority moving into the summer window.
I was going to carry on reading some of the comments about the football then and now. I can't lie, it's such a good conversation to have. And some of the, I'll quickly just fly through them. We're going to move on to the news because this is a news show. This is technically, it's a live, actually it's just an AFTV live, so we can talk about it. But obviously Kieran says, football is too robotic and fluid. There's no soul in it anymore. Diablo says, football is just more robotic right now. And then Bam Bam Flingstone says, football has gone from skillful players to system players. And there's also a lot of truth in that. We don't see players, which I think is part of this generation as well, we don't see players have the confidence to be really truly themselves. It is a lot about being a team, and you don't see those flair players really reach flair player ceilings where they can just do, I don't know, you see a Neymar, I think, and I don't really see Mbappe do skills and flair stuff anymore, but he just sticks to a system that's very good at what he does, scoring goals and beating players with pace. But that era of just like the Ronaldinho era, yeah, man, it does seem a lot different. But you know, that might be my bias, because again, there's going to be a lot of people on the other side saying, "Come on, Cecil, there's still there is still fair players today and whatnot." But for me, I think as well, back in the day was where it was at, man.
Yeah,
so
man, this whole system stuff, man.
It's jarring. Low block. Lie. How do we beat a low? Fuck all that, man.
Like my favourite player outside of Arsenal of all time is Zidane.
Okay, mine's one of these.
What midfielder is like Zidane in this modern day? What midfielder is like Zidane? Or let's take yours, Ronaldinho. What midfielder is like, or what a forward is like Ronaldinho? There isn't.
No, the only people are going to say is Neymar, but Neymar's not. He's not that anymore. He's not. Maybe when he first came through, but nowadays he's not a Ronaldinho.
Yeah, I mean, then you can go to R9, you can go to Batistuta, you can go to Del Piero and start asking where the strikers are of this ilk. Yeah, or you can go to Puyol, you can go to Tony Adams, you can go to Yap Stam and ask, hold on, where's the defenders of this ilk? Even goalkeepers we can go to, but it is what it is. That's what it is.
Time for another show. Let's go into some Eddie and Ketia news. I know.
Before Eddie, we'll wrap up with Eddie because we've talked about Eddie an awful lot. I've got one quote here over the weekend from Fabrizio Romano on Bellerin. We pretty much know what it is already, but Fabrizio Romano has quoted the director at Real Betis, Antonio Cordon. He says he's in love with Betis, he being Bellerin. He's back at Arsenal now and we will see what happens. He knows our situation. So, you know, I think Bellerin's been very upfront with his desire to move on.
Yeah, he wants to stay at Betis, doesn't he? I believe. But I believe that he may even, I don't know, what do you think? Do you think he'll go to stay at Betis, or do you think he will look to get a move somewhere else? Hector Bellerin, because obviously, you know, they've done well with Betis.
I think
his family support them as well. I think I did read that today as well. So it makes sense him being there.
We're gonna have to take a hit on it again, similar to all the transfers we've got coming out over the last period. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I just think. What was I saying with Bellerin?
Bellerin, you said will he move on? Will he stay? Obviously, we're gonna take a hit on him. So yeah, we're definitely gonna take a loss on Bellerin. That's of course that's gonna happen. But I don't know. Listen, I've wanted him to move on. I think if he's happy, I'm happy. I think it's time for him to move on. I think it's time for us to move on with him. I think there's a lot of players still in our books that some people forget about that I think it's now time to really look to make money from. I mean, we still got Runnisson's on our books still. Alex Runnison, obviously we spoke about Bellerin, Torreira, Ainsley Niles, Reece Nelson, Pablo Mari. Like, these players, just think it's time now to just kind of look forward for Arsenal.
Or 5-year extension and 100k a week. One or the other.
You couldn't help yourself, could you?
One or the other.
You couldn't help yourself, could you?
Bro, Arsenal can't help themselves. Arsenal can't help themselves.
Listen, they might come back and do a madness for 4 or 5 games and have, they might deserve it.
I'll take my anger out on you then when the season starts and we need a goal off the bench and we're struggling. Yeah, that's when I'll turn to you, Cess.
Guys, if you've been watching me and Turkish before, you'll know there was an episode or a show where me and Turkish said, Eddie and Ketia, come join us. We'll get you a seat. You can come join us because it's time's up here at Arsenal. And now he's staying for another 5 years.
Yeah, Santana, we just put it back round the other way. We'll flip it round.
For another 5 years' time. All right, so I've just been told that there's some breaking news, guys, that's just come in, that Chelsea have been sold. Now, I'm going to click on this publication, probably the worst one to pick on, but Chelsea have been bought. The takeover has been completed. I need to make sure I get this 100% right. Chelsea takeover by Okay, Chelsea takeover by Todd I can't know if I can pronounce the name. Bowley. I'm going to go with Bowley. Has been completed. That means the sanctions on the club are set to be lifted and the Blues' summer transfer business can begin. However, the first deal for the Blues could be a departure with a mega signing from the last summer. Romelu Lukaku is pushing for a move out of the club, according to reports. So, the main kind of news is now Chelsea's been bought. The takeover has been completed, and they can do business again. I mean, I don't know. We can react to that. I mean, it's that instantly. I just feel worried. I didn't actually think this was going to happen. I knew eventually they're going to be bought, but I didn't think it was going to happen this soon. But apparently, it's just been broken in the news right now. This is that they've now been bought. It's been completed, so now they can get involved in the summer transfer.
We can only hope their owners are more like ours and United's than they are City and Liverpool. Well, not so much Liverpool, but City, let's say.
Yeah.
American guy, right?
Yeah, Todd, but I'm sorry, guys. We are doing the research as is happening straight away. There's a consortium as well. So it's been bought for 4.25 billion. Behind me, big sale. To Todd Bowley, led consortium completed. I'm just going to read some more on it while we're here. The club was put on sale, yeah, obviously because of what happened regarding Roman Abramovich. Yeah, wait. Chelsea had been operating under a special government licence that would have expired on the 31st of May, which we knew about as well. His consortium fought off 11 senior rivals to become the new owners in sale process that started on the 2nd of March and comprised more than 250 inquiries. I need to know a little bit more on this guy, but we'll get to that. We'll do it in a separate show. But Chelsea's been bought, yeah.
Forget Chelsea, man.
That is it.
We touched on Bellerin. There was a couple of comments here. Bob Marley says, disagree with Turkish on 99% of things. Sorry to hear that, but Robbie is straight waffling. Keep Eddie on 100k a week, and in the same sentence, Robbie says he's third choice. Turkish, do you think Arsenal will ever win the Champions League? Ever? And by ever, do you mean it could be in 200 years when I'm long gone? Then yes, I do. But if you mean whilst I'm alive, yeah.
Let me ask you this, because I had this question on the weekend. So I love throwing these on. We can enjoy it. I'm going to ask you guys as well in the comments here. Arsenal make the Champions League final, I don't know, next 3 years, say. How much would you pay, ticket-wise, to go? Like resale, not standard. How was the highest point you'd buy the ticket to be in the final?
Well, Arsenal Champions League final?
Yeah. I'm here because I heard some crazy numbers for this Liverpool one, but how much would you go to? Be honest as well. Don't do the whole, I'm on the channel.
No.
Do generally, right now, with what you have, how much do you pay?
I'll probably stretch it to 3k.
Okay, that's reasonable. That's reasonable, because LV was saying...
It's not reasonable, but yeah,
no.
I'd do it.
No, that's reasonable, because LV was saying 10k. I said, don't be silly, bruv. Come on, 10,000. And if they lose, then what are you doing?
LV wanted Fat Salmon a few months ago. Don't listen to him too much.
That's true. I said 1.5. But I said if Arsenal really made it to a final, depending on who they're playing, because I need to know about the probability of how much we're favourites before I start upping my money.
I get that as well.
I said 1.5, but you could probably push me to just over 2. But yeah, obviously Kieran says 3,000 as well. But I had to.
If it was in the final with Man City, would you?
Final with Man City. If it was a final with Man City, with the club we have right now.
Listen, let's just take 1. my first answer. Don't start making it more difficult for me. Yeah, 3k. That's it. Yeah, Champions League final.
I'd say 1.5. I would push the. I think just over 2. But I'm gonna say 1.5 to begin with. But yeah, mad 3k. Yeah, that's a lot. Where 3 Gs. Imagine if your head's gone.
It is what it is. My head would be gone, mate. I'll tell you that. But yeah.
All right, let's round up with Eddie and Ketty.
All right, cool. So again, weekend, Fabrizio Romano tweets something we all know's around the corner. Eddie's new contract will run until June 2027. 5-year deal now set to be signed, as Arsenal wanted him to stay at all costs. Oh, did we now? Crystal Palace, West Ham and 2 Bundesliga clubs approached Eddie, but he's staying. I don't know where to start on this one.
Yeah, this could be a long conversation. I'm gonna be honest. We're gonna try and keep it brief.
Not really. Robbie's exhausted the conversation already. On Friday, he was just
I heard he's Eddie's
doing
lawyer.
my nutting, talking about like just give it a rest. Okay, what do I take from this? Okay, as Arsenal wanting him to stay at all costs. Cool. Let me just side that one off. Palace.
No. That is That's rubbish.
Yeah, but it is what
Arteta
it
even
is.
said like he wasn't going to play him. He said he apologised for not using Eddie as an option earlier. So that is rubbish. He was never. They didn't want to keep him at all costs. That is complete lie. There's a few times that he asked him obviously they wanted to sign, but that was after his spell of him playing well. But before then he wasn't really considered. But anyway, carry on. Sorry, we can't just brush over that.
Sorry, Kieran made me laugh because he said he'd pay 3K as well, but then the hotel and all that, he said he might have to swim to France during the night.
Pick up Kieran.
Pick up Kieran. Yeah, so what I'm going to take from this, forget the all-cost thing, I can't be able to talk about that. Crystal Palace, West Ham and two Bundesliga clubs.
Yeah.
Okay, so last year when Xhaka was touted out, low price, only Roma wanted him,
Correct.
yeah? When he took the armband off and done all of that madness, only Hertha Berlin wanted him, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So we gave a guy that only Hertha Berlin and Roma seemed to want a new contract. Okay, cool. That was done last summer. Why are you going on about that Turkish? Stop looking backwards. Cool, whatever. So let's look now and let's look forwards because this contract will be signed in the next few days. Crystal Palace, West Ham United, and two Bundesliga clubs. And I'm just gonna throw it out there. I don't think those Bundesliga clubs were Bayern Munich and Borussia.
No.
Let me just
they won't go on. They ain't gonna be going on.
I can't guarantee that, but let me just put that out there. We're giving a 5-year contract to a 22-year-old striker that was only wanted by West Ham and Palace on a free. Yeah? Before anything else, before we delve into numbers, before we delve into quotes from Arteta, before we delve into anything, that is wrong. Because if you want to move forward, surely you keep the players that bigger clubs want and you let these kind of players go. Surely. But, we give them new contracts. It's fine, whatever. Keep value, apparently. Even though on a free, only Palace and West Ham wanted him. Cool. David Ornstein, today, he was asked by someone on the Athletic comment section.
Right.
He was asked about, are we still going to be buying two strikers then? Because, going into the summer, everyone said two strikers.
Everyone expects two. I expect two strikers. That's what we want.
But what did I tell Robbie on Friday?
It's not going
to be two strikers. So Ornstein said, as far as I know, Jesus and Eddie Nketiah are the current priority plan.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, as far as he knows.
That's what he says, yeah?
That's what he said. As far as I know, Jesus and Nketiah are the current priority plan.
So Jesus, what's Jesus valued at? I believe it started off, they wanted to from 25, but I think it's gone up now to I'm sure I saw 40 million. So, okay. So
Peter, quickly, if Turkey made the World Cup final, probably 5K.
Yeah, it changes if...
Probably 5K.
Yeah, and if Jamaica made the final, boy, yeah, money's up.
Yeah. Just sorry, because that was a good question. But yeah, back to this.
All right, cool. So all these fans, and myself included, we need two strikers. We need two strikers and a wide player, shall we say, that can play on both wings. So now he's kind of saying that, guys, lower your expectation. Eddie Nketiah, so wait, he's going to be on. So Gabriel Jesus is going to be our main striker, which, in my opinion, yes, he's good, but he's good. He is good. I wouldn't mind seeing him come through the door, but he's not the one I'm like, that's the big signing that's going to change our season. So then I expect the second signing to be kind of the more of the bright, outlandish one, if I'm honest. So now we're looking at Eddie Nketiah, right? Wow. So when things aren't working, plan A. We're looking at the bench, like you said earlier, warming up Eddie Nketiah.
He's not going to fill opposition with,
You're not
any
fearing
doubt.
that. You're not fearing that.
It doesn't fill us with any hope. Listen, I've mentioned the Palace West Ham stuff from the first quote taken from Fabrizio Romano. On this one from Ornstein now, I want to throw it back out there because I got an awful lot of criticism, abuse, whatever, off the back of January. When I said we wasn't in for Vlahovic. Who was that super chat before that said Bob Marley? He disagrees with 99% of what I say. So he probably did disagree with what I said about January, that we wasn't in for Vlahovic. Yeah? I maintained that. Why? Not because I didn't know, I knew 100% what happened in January, but the past of this football club, the past of these owners. It helps me form and shape an opinion of what's happening now. None of us know, but we can we can use the past to help form an opinion of them now.
Right.
If this club really was in for Vlahovic in January, if we was really, and everyone out there, please, people that disagree, more so than the people that agree, because I'm more talking to you guys now.
He was at 60, 70 million, right? That's what I think.
Forget the money for a sec.
Right,
if we was in for Vlahovic, is he the same profile as Eddie and Jesus? Is that the same type of striker?
No, it's not.
So, I want to ask everyone out there again, was we in for Vlahovic in January or was you tricked? Again. Because surely you don't go for Vlahovic for 30 days in January. Every day you're waiting. Has he called yet? Has he called yet? Has he called yet? You're waiting every day for this to happen. He chooses Juventus. Oh, we don't want to panic. Well, 4 or 5 months later, moving into the summer window, all of a sudden, that profile of striker isn't what we're going for. Oh, really? Please, this club just doesn't cease to amaze me sometimes.
It's stressful because I think, and then I'll just look to Isaac here as well, because when you was going on that rant and you were speaking about that, I was thinking, is Isaac the profile player that Eddie and Jesus is? Do you know what? I think he's taller, he can hold a ball more, but I suppose you put them together. I mean, his numbers aren't great. 6 goals and 2 assists.
If we are to believe David Ornstein, and I can always say, don't believe these in the nose 100%. There's some that are closely linked, but in reality, they're there to feed information, misinformation. They're only here to feed what the club allowed them to feed, right? But Ornstein is insinuating that it'll be Eddie and Jesus. If it is Eddie and Jesus, then are we going to forget about January? I'm not, but there's a lot of fans out there that will forget about it and not hold anyone accountable and then be arguing again with me come next season when I'm like, we haven't done enough.
Is Gabriel Jesus a big sign? Will that blind fans enough? I don't think you've got to question that if we just get Jesus in and they keep Eddie. Surely there's going to be more to it. Or do you think they will be blinded by other signings in other positions? Because I think that's what they might do, actually, to be fair. They'll go for a midfielder, potentially. They'll probably get a fullback. I'm seeing them linked with a lot of fullbacks, Arsenal Football Club. So, yeah.
Predrag says, but then you will ignore the fact, and here I am not ignoring it, so I hope you take note of that Fiorentina's president said Vlahovic had offers from Real Madrid and Arsenal. Oh, the president of the club that player plays for decided to insinuate that player is wanted by a whole host of clubs. Could it be to drive his value up?
They don't normally do that. I swear, they don't normally do that, Turks. They don't normally do that.
I've never seen that in my life. Let me not ignore it, though. Let me not ignore it. Yeah.
Turks, welcome for smoke today.
No, it's not even smoke. I don't want to be proven right about these things, because if I am being proven right, that means the club is doing wrong.
Yeah.
I want to be proven wrong, which would mean the club is doing right.
Yeah.
But I can't lie. January made me feel like this club isn't moving forward because of the gaping opportunity and the failing to take a risk.
Rightly so.
I didn't have no facts, no figures, no quotes to tell me that I'm right, nor did anyone else that thought we was in for Vlahovic. But since the season has ended, Arteta said he'd done what he was allowed to do.
Yep.
And now Ornstein, who, he's one of the ones that are closely linked to the club, is saying that Jesus and Nketiah are the priority, the plan, and that's the only striker. So which one is it, people? Which one is it? I'll tell you which one it is. The people that were positive about January, the people that did think we was in for Vlahovic, are going to pretend that didn't happen. And moving into next season, they're going to act like Eddie as backup option is good enough. He deserves a chance. He's young and all of this stuff. But we're never going to talk about January 2022 again.
But let's be real, okay? They get Jesus, and then they get a winger with goals in the game, with goals to their names. Let's say, I don't know, I'm just going to give an example, a Sterling type player. I think that does suffice a lot of fans, I don't know, maybe expectations. Because if you get a goal-scoring wide player and you get a striker, I know we wanted one more, but I don't know how I would feel with that, if I'm honest. I think I wouldn't be too angry at that, Turkish, if I'm completely honest. Eddie Nketiah things.
The only way I go into next season understanding why they gave this Eddie Nketiah contract.
I don't understand that
one. The
only
way, is if we sign Gnabry.
That's someone just put that.
Only way.
Colby Walker said that, Gnabry, yeah.
Because at least then I know we've got goals, guaranteed goals coming from another position.
Right.
Yeah, we've got quality coming from another position, and we've got a winner, an experienced winner. Yeah, and that actually does care about the club.
Yeah, and you rotate that through Saka, Martinelli, Emile Smith-Rowe, and then you have a good shot. I think that works. I think that works. That's why I questioned it. So I know we're angry. Right now, and when you break it down like that, and the January window is abysmal anyway. I think every fan goes back to that. We always speak about how that was our downfall, but when you bring those players in, if you bring Gnabry in, and then you do this deal, then you make priority whether Eddie and Jesus. I think that, for me as well, like I just said there, I'm okay with that. Plus, you obviously got strength in the midfield, maybe get a fullback as well. But that's what the club needs to do. If they don't, then we'll come back to this conversation. We'll come back, sit here and discuss over it. Now I'm going to read some super chats. We did actually miss a bit of news, which we're going to get to just to round up on the show as well. Young Gunner says, now let me go up higher than that. Yasser V Go says, we cannot do low price exits anymore. Maybe Hector, but we should try and get decent money for Pepe, Nelson, Leno, Torreira, Leno and Torreira, etc. I agree. The club hasn't done that in the past, but hopefully they can start, But
you say any more like it should have been happening in the first place, bro. I'm with you, but sometimes when you say any more, it's like you're letting them get away with it because it's been happening. It shouldn't have happened in the first place. Even down to Lacazette leaving right now, and even down to Eddie Nketiah getting a new bumper contract at the end of his current deal. These things shouldn't be happening even before now, let alone, saying any more. We can't forgive and forget because that's what's led us down, to where we are now.
We used to do it to pay things off. Like I know when he sold Vieira didn't really want to leave at the time, but to pay off the stadium. Like there was times that managers were doing it to, again, you hate to hear it, but protect the owners really. That's what they're doing now while they were selling players. Nowadays, I think we shouldn't be doing that. What they're trying to protect now, like we should be trying to make money for these players and then strengthen this Arsenal side, but it hasn't been the case of recent. Let me go to Young Gunner Super Chat here saying, I'm against Eddie staying. I wouldn't put it past the club to sign one striker, then have Eddie and Balogun as a backups. Also, obviously, be returning from loan, which will put us in trouble next season. Eddie hasn't earned 100k a week. Tom Laguna says, but hang on, Turkish. I thought you were Turkish Cypriot, so surely you would support Cyprus when it's talking about Turkey. And obviously, you're saying you'll pay a bit more money for the World Cup.
Oh, but obviously, it's different because, the Cyprus... The national team is represented by the south side of Cyprus, which is the Greek side of Cyprus. So it's a bit different there. Cyprus is obviously, there's only one country called Cyprus, but the north side isn't recognized outside of Turkey. So it's difficult. It's difficult to really tell you why, but Turkey is my national team. Ireland is my national team. And that's it. If they're not in it, then I'm not in it.
Touch of Awesome with Super Chat as well. Big Up says, 2 small strikers. Nah, we need a big man up top for sure, someone to aim for.
Something different, do you know what I mean? Something different. But like I said, if the plan is Jesus and Eddie, then Gnabry better be somewhere along that, the three behind that striker, because I can't fathom being in need of a goal December, Monday night kickoff, and we're looking at Eddie Nketiah on the bench as the backup striker option. It just doesn't fill me with hope. So either it's up to Eddie to prove me wrong, it's up to the club to prove me wrong, but all up until now, all they've been doing is, unfortunately, proving me right.
This could also come into the conversation as well of like in the Premier League, the way the game's changed. And we spoke about earlier, goalkeepers have to use their feet, centre-backs have to play out from the back and drive forward and whatnot. Strikers, that big, tall, strong, up-front striker that holds up the ball, pins it up and brings, that sort of style of striker. Is that fading away in the Premier League as well? I'm trying to think of like the top clubs. They don't have that. They have a player that's normally quite short, quite versatile, play across the free, can get goals, dynamic, more so. So I know in other leagues that doesn't happen, but in this league especially, we saw Lukaku not really hit the ground running as well at Chelsea and play, and he's that sort of striker. Is that kind of fading away from the Premier League as well? But don't get me wrong, I want that at Arsenal, but if you look at the blueprint across the Premier League, you don't see that.
Things change though. I know, there's this fascination with going with, what's working at this moment in time, but things change. It wasn't that long ago that Jose Mourinho type of football was winning Champions Leagues and bringing great, memories to Chelsea, Inter Milan, Porto and so on. It wasn't that long ago. Football just goes through different eras, and there will be another era around the corner. We don't know what it is. It might be an old one that comes back. It might be the two up top that comes back. It might be less system-based, more individual flair. But who knows how it's going to change? But I think putting all your, I think looking at someone and trying to copy what they do isn't the best way to go about it.
Interesting.
You need your own fresh ideas. You need your own take on things. You might take something from there, and then do your own twist on it. But I think just looking at, let's say, a Pep or a Klopp and saying that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
By the time you get to that level of what you think they're doing, they've probably moved on a bit because 100%. They're constantly thinking about how to move on. Like look at Man City this year. Everyone thinks Haaland, he doesn't fit what Pep likes. I bet you Pep changes a bit of the way he plays to suit Haaland, because managers have to do that. Look at Ancelotti. Ancelotti, you know, he doesn't get the credit that he really deserves, but he's been through different eras. He was in the era of, you know, Mourinho winning it in defensively, or Barcelona tiki-taka, down to Man City, Liverpool dominating in the way they have done, domestically anyway. So I just think it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. I think football, they cycles. It's going to change eventually.
Agreed. That's the biggest point you made in that is the Haaland going to City and how Pep will adapt that, because I think that's what there's questions on people's mind. Will Pep change his style really to work for Haaland or not? So yeah, very interesting, that one. But like I said, the game's changing so much and ever changing. But it seems like that sort of striker that I want and we all want is kind of maybe fading away. ATVF22 says, who would you rather sign, Osimhen or Jesus? I've been a big fan of Osimhen, Victor Osimhen, but I think I would rather have Victor Osimhen. I've been a big fan of him. Done well this season, Napoli. I know he didn't hit 15 goals, but in the league. But
they are different as well.
Yeah, they are. I wanted both, but hey, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, not Arsenal. It's not anyway.
All right, quickly, guys, to round up on this AFTV live show, we must speak about Ben White. Just quickly pulling out of the England side due to injury. I think it's been said that he wants to recover and with the team, with Arsenal, and basically not be selected. He's pulled out of selection for England in these coming nation league games, on these nation friendlies. So Ben White has pulled out over this period. Very interesting to think about who would replace him. We kind of had a bit of banter on who we thought might go in there. We threw some names about. The defence in the England side, defence options are very, very limited, very limited. But yeah, so that is kind of the end of news there for that. Ben White is not going to be with the England side, unfortunately, in this coming friendlies. And
it would have been nice for him, but it is what it is, man. I don't care about international duty at this moment in time.
We might see Eric Dyer be called up. Jeez.
Probably.
Eric Dyer, Concer's a shout, but yeah, that is that. Last little super chat that's just popped up.
Stress. We cannot have Eddie on 100k just because of 5 games. We have to sell him. It'll create jealousy, as overall Martinelli, Gabby, Ramsdale, Saka deserve 100 too. I guess you mean Gabriel defender as well. Yeah, it can cause problems, stress. It
can, Chef. But sorry, I have to jump in there. Sorry to cut you. But with inflation and with the way a lot of people's salaries and footballers, even around that age, is increasing, players are going to be looking at that anyway. Personally, in my opinion, they're going to be looking at getting a pay increase anyway. But Eddie on 100k is still pretty wild. But you know, he might be able to prove us wrong in the next season. Let's hope so. But that is it from me.
Big up all the love as well, because obviously I sometimes go into one sometimes when when Arsenal are letting me down, and I see a lot of love there. I see a few people, Neil, I see Mai Tai, Kieran as well. But I see some people, let me just end with this one here. Where is it? Turkish, who are you for Arsenal and Eddie to prove you wrong? You thought you did something there, right? You thought you did something. You did nothing. On that note, let's wrap it up.
Guys, thank you for watching this AFTV Live. That is all the news for today, and we'll be back through the transfer period as well, doing these lives and giving you the news of the day. So make sure you join us. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you're new. We'll see you again next time. Take care.